come along here and get the first survey underway. As you might be able to see out there, the weather is a little bit not summery, not spring-like at all. There's quite a bit of snow blowing down. We'll go and have a look outside. So we'll just wander through the Bluebell Centre here and then we'll pop outside and see what the weather's like. So I don't think I'm going to be going out and doing any butterfly recording in this, because as you can probably see, it's a bit chilly. The temperature's probably, well, it's dropped significantly when the snow is blown in. Probably 4 or 5 degrees, so I don't think the snow is going to stick around. I think it's going to, as soon as it stops, it'll pretty much melt away. We're meant to, so this should be. Oops. And the weather's really rather turned against it. You can probably see a few flakes of snow on the broadcast. Just stand slightly under shelter for a moment. I don't think it's going to come to much. I don't think it's going to last long. There'll be a few little squally showers through the day, but it's already easing off. Fox running through the field at the top. I doubt you can make that out. I'll have a quick wander out and just see what there is to see, but clearly it's not going to be many butterflies or insects in conditions like this. And you can see, if you look on my coat, you can see the bits of little snowflakes building up just to prove it really is snowing. And it's noticeably colder than it was even 10 minutes ago. I can feel it on my hands, in part because I'm out here holding this device, of course. But you've got the pond here, lots of frogs produced their spawn in here. They'll be okay. There we can see some down there, swimming away under the surface there. They'll be okay if it's just a bit chilly. I mean, they're not going to be badly affected by a slightly cold patch. If it pond deeply froze for a long time after they've spawned, that can be a problem. But as you can tell, I'm not likely to be doing the butterfly survey this afternoon in these conditions. So instead, let's just have a quick wander into the woods and see what's there. Hopefully it'll be a bit warmer over the weekend and I can get these surveys out the way. The ideal is to get one every week done from April to the end of September. That produces some really useful, statistically robust data on how butterfly populations are faring. See, it's already turning blue again. The squall's obviously passed. You do get these odd little cold patches of a sudden cold snap after it's been getting warm and spring-like. All the flowers are coming up, of course, and they get hit by these cold snaps, holds the development back a bit. We've not really had a proper winter this year. We've not really had down here, at least in this part of England, any particular cold period or any particular amount of snow or rain or similar. snow or frost or anything. So this is probably the closest to wintry conditions we've had in this sort of 2020, 2021 winter. Sorry, 21, 22 winter even, forgetting what year it is. And you see already the sky's cleared up. It's got blue again. It's not going to get warm enough to be able to do the survey. The survey methodology for these butterfly surveys needs, well, ideally a temperature of 16 degrees, but at a minimum 10. You can't even submit the data, if I remember rightly, if the temperature is below 10 degrees, because it's basically meaningless. It'll tell you you've seen no butterflies, but you've seen no butterflies because it's too cold, so that doesn't tell you anything useful about populations. Scurried the indigo to the side here. Can't see it. Keep going. This time of year, of course, these paths through the woods indicate the effect of human beings quite strongly. So these paths are basically kept as paths just by the pressure of walking. And we'd cut down, if a tree fell, a tree limb fell over or something, we'd clear that, but we don't cut them away. We don't pull plants out that are growing in them particularly, and they're just kept as paths because people walk along them, and that suppresses the bluebell growth. And you see, quite a strong effect of trampling. It's, in a way, surprising, something that you think of as not a particularly intrusive thing to do, just go for a quiet walk somewhere, over time makes a real difference to how things present. Equally, if we stopped walking on these paths and gave it a fair amount of time, because the soil is rather compacted here, 10, 20, 30 years, it would probably be much harder to make out we'd been here. So things do recover. Little robin hopped up on the post ahead. Walk towards it slightly. Yeah, flown off. Well, the snow's stopped, which is good. The temperature still feels quite chilly. I haven't got a thermometer immediately here, but I'd be surprised if it's much above 6 degrees at the moment. Centigrade, that is, of course. This is probably our most advanced patch of bluebells that we've got in the wood at the moment, or just on the edge of the wood. Here in this sort of clearing at the edge. Rather go down a bit and have a look through them. There we go. There we go. Quite nice. Well, a bit warmer, these would just get a bumblebee flying in these conditions. Bombus terrestris, the buff-tailed bumblebee, seems to manage in quite cold conditions. I've seen a couple about today. But it's rather an attractive little patch of blue. And soon the whole woodland floor will be carpeted like this, perhaps even more densely by these bluebells. But this is probably the most, well, this is the most far on patch. And I suspect this year it's because it's this clearing area. The sun's got at it, it's been a bit warmer. In a more typical spring, often the clearing areas are a little bit behind because they get more exposed to the frosts, but we've had so few of them this year. This is where everything's got itself out first. Anyway, so wander further into the woods. Now the snow's got enough giants. I mean, with that little snow flurry having passed over, I can feel it getting warmer again. It's a relative term. It's still almost certainly inadequate conditions for doing the butterfly survey that I've been hoping I would be doing today. But never mind. It's a day off work, a day down here at Perivale Wood. They're never wasted. Plants coming into leaf. I've got your horse on here coming into leaf. It's one of the early flowering, sorry, early leafing shrubs or trees, if you want, in the wood. You can actually eat the leaves. They're not particularly tasty, but if you're in green, if it's, you know, if you weren't in a world with supermarkets and global transport of stuff, you might be, by this point in the year, quite desperate for some greenery, having got through winter and used up all your winter cabbage. So this would be the sort of thing people could have eaten. I have eaten it before. It's not particularly pleasant. There's a fox here. Let's see if we can see this fox. No. He might come out this way. So one of our foxes has just ran off to the right here. They often set themselves up and just watch, so we might see it as we go in the corner, but there's a lot of vegetation in the way. No. You can hear it, and yeah, it's behind the ivy. Behind the holly, it's just obscured at the back there. Or it was. It's John obviously doesn't want to stand around where I am. There's even sunlight now. It's been a weird day. If you look out the windows, Well, when I was getting up and getting ready to come out this morning, looked out the window, bright sunlight. It looked like a really glorious, warm spring day. But when I left the house, it was about 2 degrees and not much better. So, looks like today will not be a day where I actually start the butterfly transect surveys on the first day of week 1 of the surveys, which is a shame. I always, it's sort of a little ritual you don't have, there's no scientific reason why it has to be done on day 1 of the week. As long as you record as near as you can once a week during the season, it doesn't matter which day you do it, but sort of the ritual of always taking the 1st of April off work if it's a work day and making sure I do the survey is one that's sort of developed over the years, so it's a bit of a shame to miss it. The side spring there, you might be able to hear a chiff chaff calling. Chiff chaff call. See if we'll do it again. Yeah, off over that way somewhere. One of the first migrant warblers to arrive back in the country. They do, of course, overwinter here, but as well, different populations, a rather complex thing going on there. But chiff chaff's coming back and starting singing. It's one of those signs of spring. And it's not going to let it being a cold and miserable day stop it advertising its territory and seeking a mate. There's a clump of wild garlic which we've looked at before. And what I've put beside it is a pheromone lure trap for leek moth, which is, you might be able to read the scientific name in there. Acrolepio, anyway, I can't remember the scientific name without looking it up. But that's just a pheromone lure on a trap. You can see the bung with the lure on it. And that will attract the moths, which are associated with various things in the allium family, the onions family, of which wild garlic is one. So I've stuck that there just to see if we've got that species here in the reserve. It has been recorded here before, but not very often. But we haven't surveyed, no, I did survey with this method last year and didn't get any. But it hasn't been surveyed much using a pheromone-based survey, so something to do, something to have a different look at. We'll wander a bit further on. It's, yeah, so I'm sure as it looks there on Haps, this looks like a nice warm spring day. You can still feel the chill in the air. Certainly the hand I'm holding this device with is not enjoying being cold. A tiny little moth just flown by. Let's see if I can capture it. No. Is it going to settle somewhere we can have a look at it? Come on, go and sit down. It has, but it's settled way up there. Yeah. Well, I can hold this up. No, I can't. If it stayed on whilst I've done that, I'd be absolutely amazed. No, didn't think it would. So that was that little moth, which you may have just caught a glimpse of flying through the screen, flying through in front of the camera, was one of the aerocranids, small micro moths whose caterpillars feed between the top and bottom surface of leaves. It was almost certain this Aerocrania subpurpurella, that's the commonest one we get here, and the one we get flying at this time of year, So that is almost certainly what it was. Can I see there's another one just flown down there? And somewhere. So I did see another one just flip through here and then land. If I can find it, we can have a look. It is, however, no, looks like it must have kept going when it got out of sight. Well, we'll keep wandering, see if there's anything else we see as we head back towards the Bluebell Centre where we started. Now it's sunnier again. We might start to see a few more insects taking advantage of what limited heat they can get out of the sun. There we go. So on this stem, come on, focus on the right thing. Hopefully you can see a little moth here. And this is indeed Dicereocrania subpurpurella. By going closer, I might persuade it to focus on the moth. I'll keep my hand behind. Little, pretty small as you can see. Metallic golden colour with a few purplish scales. And there's sort of a pale patch where the wings meet towards the outer edge, which is how we tell it's that species. But really rather attractive. And if this stays here when I let go, I'm going to just just a brief disruption whilst I take the camera off the device, because I think maybe that's as good an image as any on which to end today's broadcast. Let's just try a little bit closer, pushing the, there we go, we'll end on there.